In this video, I'm going to be comparing the SVS 3000 Micro, the newly released micro subwoofer, against the B&W PV1d. So the SVS 3000 Micro, it's a new offering from SVS. It marks their entrance into the market. They've made their first baby subwoofer with dual opposing woofers as well. So we should expect a bigger sound from a smaller cabinet. The subwoofer comes in two finishes that I know of, and that's a gloss white and a gloss black. The B&W PV1d, on the other hand, that is, I think, almost a decade old now. I think it came out in like 2012. And today, I think that subwoofer has aged very well. I think it's still gorgeous. I think today it could still pass in many households and not look out of place. The B&W PV1d, as far as I'm aware, it comes in a matte black, which I think is the most common finish, and also a matte white finish as well. So which one should you buy? And that's the purpose of this video today, because buying a subwoofer, it's a very, very personal thing. I have a mixed feeling when it comes to looking at the specifications versus actually having the subwoofer, you know, and testing them in your house. I think first of all, you need to test it in your house. That's like, if you're going to spend a lot of money, you should do that. You should have a few subwoofers, I think, really, before you make your decision. But before you get to that point, the only thing you have is specifications. And unfortunately, you cannot cheat physics. There's trickery that you can pull off sometimes, but you can't cheat physics completely. So yeah, if you want a subwoofer for a specific purpose, then you need to know how that subwoofer is built and is it going to be the right subwoofer for you. So let's compare them today. Now, unfortunately, I don't have them here. Sorry guys, but few things on this channel, still a small channel. The other thing is, maybe I'm overly honest. I've had suppliers write to me, say that they won't send me stuff because I've said bad stuff about their products before. So that's just the name of the game. I made my bed, now I've got to sleep in it. So yeah, continue watching if you want my take on it. Anyway, both of these subwoofers, they are sealed box designs, also known as acoustic suspension designs. And, you know, they might sound tighter than ported designs. They tend to sound tighter, better transient response. But, you know, a good ported subwoofer can sound very good as well. Anyway, they're both sealed. Now, the 3000 Micro has dual opposing 8-inch drivers, and it is a 10 to 11 inch cube. So 10 inches by 10 inches by 10 inches, give or take an inch is what it is. So it's a very, very compact subwoofer. It's about the same size. In fact, probably the same size, maybe a fraction larger than the KEF KC62. Now the B&W PV1d, on the other hand, is a bit larger than the SVS 3000 Micro. It is between 10 and 14 inches on all sides. However, it does have a different sort of design, like a circle sort of design. So yeah, maybe that's where those extra inches come in to play. Let's now look at the amplification, because basically the amplification, it allows you to get more out of the driver. If the driver is up to it, then you're able to get more sound into your room, better quality, and hopefully higher SPLs, sound pressure level. So yeah, the B&W PV1d, 400 watt Class D amplifier on board. It has digital sound processing, and the reason it would have that for sure on a subwoofer that size is because, like I said earlier, physics, these small subwoofers, they struggle to basically reach the lowest lows on the bass spectrum. So you use digital sound processing to try and boost those signals that you need, so it kind of matches your room better and it sounds more like what it's meant to be, a subwoofer. And a lot of the time this does work. It's kind of a cheat, but it does work on good designs. The SVS 3000 Micro is also a similar design, Class D amplification, and it has digital sound processing as well. But the difference is it has double the wattage, okay, 800 watt RMS versus the 400 watt RMS on the B&W PV1d. Now that sounds like a lot, and yes it is, 400 extra watts is a lot, but if we were going to convert wattage into what you can hear, I think it's for every, basically if you double the wattage, you only get an additional 3 decibels which is audible. It's definitely audible. It will sound like maybe 50%, 40%, something like that, louder at certain volumes. So yeah, it's definitely worth considering, but it doesn't mean that you double the wattage, so you double the volume. That's the point I'm trying to make here. The difference is with the SVS amplifier. Well, one difference is they fully disclose that their design is based on a fully discrete MOSFET style system, and B&W don't say that from what I can see on the spec sheet, and I've looked at their, it's like a manual sort of thing, and I can't see MOSFET design mentioned there. So perhaps they're using a integrated circuit design, which a lot of people think is not as good as a discrete MOSFET design. You can have good with both, okay? Generally, the MOSFET designs they're generally accepted as higher quality. If you had two audio engineers and they were both of equal, let's say, skill level, I'm pretty sure that they would pick the MOSFET style design if they were to develop the subwoofer. That's my take on it. B&W don't say, SVS do. My trust is a bit more with SVS. The SVS also features what they reckon is the best digital sound processing on the market. The good thing is with that, it's customizable via an app that I'll talk to you about later. Now let's look at the drivers. They both have 8-inch drivers, like I said earlier. B&W, again, quite vague on the spec sheet. It just says 8-inch drivers, long throw. Okay, there's not actually, now long throw means basically how much the driver can move. And we call this X max figures. There's also X mech figures, but we don't really need to concern ourselves on X mech. X max is basically the maximum linear excursion of a driver. You would assume that the more the driver can move, the more powerful the bass it can make, the lower it can go. SVS say that the max excursion of their 8-inch driver for the 3000 micro is 24 millimeters. So, and that seems impressive. B&W don't say a word about that. So again, my feeling is with SVS, there's more transparency there around the specifications, the details of those specifications. The next question you might have is, why are they both going for a dual opposing design? Why don't they make a bigger, slightly bigger cone? Why don't they do it that way around and make a bigger cabinet? Well, this is the thing. I think a lot of people will get confused because they're going to see two drivers and they're going to think two is better than one. There's probably some benefit to that acoustically. Some people reckon it might sound better in a room in terms of subwoofer placement, but the main reason that it's really, really powerful to have two opposing drivers is basically if you have one driver moving that way, it could cause the cabinet to move as well. It's not really a problem when the subwoofer is heavy and large, but when the subwoofer is small, then it's more prone to basically dance across the room. And we don't want that with audio. We want that thing, whatever the box is, we want it to be inert. We want it to be dead, basically. We just want that driver to be moving. We don't want anything else moving, anything else vibrating other than what is intended. So when you have two, they cancel each other out and the thing should stay dead still. That's the idea behind it, and that's why it works in micro designs. So what do I like about both? Well, first of all, the B&W PV1d, what I like about it is it's a 9-year-old design. It still looks like it's from the future, and it's a 9-year-old design. Sorry, I've got to turn my phone off. Happens every time. I don't know why I don't turn my phone off. Anyway, it's a 9-year-old design, and it still looks like it's from the future. And, what else does it have? It has a touch panel. That's quite old school now. I think a lot of things have that. Some people still prefer a dial. I prefer a dial on something like a subwoofer. It's just easier. Now, the SVS, what's the unique selling point of that? I would say, well, you've got the things I mentioned earlier, but the added benefit, I would say, is that digital sound processing is probably of a higher grade than it is with the B&W, because you're able to do more with it as well. You have the app, the SVS app, you're able to control that subwoofer. You're able to put basically your numbers into that, so that subwoofer knows how to account for your room and the bass nodes that there might be in your room. Okay, so basically if your room is a particularly problematic one, your subwoofer can adjust, let's say, how it's performing. So let's say there's a certain frequency, let's say 150 hertz, it can turn that down a little bit if your room is prone to spikes in that region, and you have more control over that, and that is hugely powerful. That should not be underestimated. Now, if you really do like the B&W PV1d and you want to have more control over basically provide it with parametric equalization, if you want more control over that, then there are certain things you can buy, like an anti-mode device. A mini DSP is something you can buy, and basically that's going to sit between your subwoofer and whatever sending the signal, whether it be your amplifier or receiver or whatever it is. Okay, there's like a device and it will sit between that. But an all-in-one design is more convenient. That's why I like the SVS. It's all in one. It's all in one box, and it's easily controlled by an app. I mean, how can you get better than that? It's tidier and it's all in one, so the whole system will cost less overall. Now, as I live in the UK, as you can probably tell from my accent, I can only really give you my take on the pricing. Now in America, you guys get very, very good prices from SVS because you buy direct to manufacturer over there. I believe the SVS 3000 the micro is $799, right? So it's very good. But over here in the UK, the SVS is £899. So in dollars, that's like $1,200, and that's just for one unit. No multi-buy discounts as well. And because we don't buy from SVS direct, we buy from a store over here. So therefore, we give up the 45-day home trial demos. You know, we return it, all that jazz. You give that up in the UK. £899. Now, the B&W PV1d, that's £1,200. So the B&W PV1d is £300 more, which means it's 33% more expensive than the SVS. So the SVS is, from what I can see on the spec sheet, a better subwoofer. I would be more willing to part with my money without doing any home demos and just, let's say I have to buy one, I'm going to be more confident with that one, and it's 33%, no, the B&W is 33% more expensive than that, and the SVS is actually 25% cheaper than the B&W. So that's how percentages work, guys. Anyway, so yeah, I think the SVS is going to be the winner at the lower price point as well. So why not go with that one? Now, one thing to say about B&W in this country, while SVS we have to go through the third party, like the middleman, and we're basically bound by whatever their policy is and the Distance Selling Act. B&W on their website in the UK offer you a 30-day trial on the sub as their policy, which I think is better than SVS in this country. So I don't understand why SVS don't roll out their 45-day returns to customers of the UK. At the end of the day, we are buying the same product from you. I think it should be that way. We're buying the same product, same brand. You'd hope the same warranty. Why don't we get that same right? Maybe you should put that into your contracts with your retailers that you work with. That's what I think. I don't think it's fair because their subwoofer has to fit your household. It has to fit, like I said, your room nodes, your bass, the problematic areas. You need to have that subwoofer sounding right before you part with your money and not the other way around. As always, my recommendation, try both. If you want to just limit it down to one and you just want to buy something based on the spec sheet, then I think that you should go for the SVS 3000 Micro. With subwoofers, I'm not being funny, guys. It's not a game with subwoofers. With loudspeakers, it's a bit different with your normal loudspeakers because, you know, there's things to consider like treble, mid-range, bass integration, you know, what taste you have and stuff like that. With subwoofers, it's not a game. It's physics, okay? You have to have a good driver, a long excursion. You have to have a big cone. If you want it to be a subwoofer, these things you can't really negotiate on. You can't shake its hand and say, you know, make me a deal. It doesn't work like that, guys. A lot of it is down to the spec. A lot of you guys, you know, not you guys who are watching it and subscribed maybe, but new people come to this channel, they don't quite understand that and they have a go at me because I'm telling you stuff that is non-negotiable. You can't negotiate with physics, guys. So yeah, if we had to buy this off the spec sheet, SVS all day long, that's where the sense is, in my opinion. So yeah, smash like, smash subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.